Okay, welcome everyone. I'm so excited to have you here for day 2. Honestly and truthfully, so excited. I had like the wackiest day today, and I'll just start with a couple stories about it because I find it entertaining. So this morning, my daughter and I had just gotten up, and she comes back into the bedroom and she goes, "Mommy, I just peed in the kitty litter box." And I was like, "What?" I was like, Did you pee in the kitty litter box, or the cat pee in the kitty litter box?" She's like, "No, I peed in the kitty litter box." And she's like, "I went like this." And she shows me like a squat. And she goes, "But I didn't step in it because there was poop in there." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I went, and sure enough, she squat over the kitty litter box and peed in it. And I was like, okay, like maybe next time we'll go in the potty, whatever. So I'm like, all right, this is interesting. Like, where is the day going? So we had to be out somewhere today getting her dressed. She only wants to wear her absolute favorite princess dress thing. So many meltdowns about clothes, like meltdown after meltdown after meltdown. And I'm like, we have to get out of the house on time. Like, I'm trying to get moving. I'm trying to like throw snacks in there because I know we're going to be out for like a bunch of hours. And she's like, "I need my supplements." And I was like, okay. So I like gave her, I'm like, "Let's do lemon balm," because clearly like you're having a thing today. So I gave her a dropper of lemon balm. And then she's like, "And I need the pink one." So I'm like, okay, here, the B12, have some of that. We'll take it with us. And this little voice in my head goes, she's probably going to drop those. And like, and I'm like, nah, she won't drop it. And they're like good thick glass, like they won't break. 2 minutes later, she drops like the near full bottle of the Vimergy B12, which is like $89 on the floor, and it smashes everywhere. So I'm like, okay. And then she's crying again. And I'm like, "It's fine. Don't worry. I have another bottle." I'm like, "We are abundant. We do not worry about money. It's just a thing. We don't worry about things in this family." I'm like, all right, it's all good. Like, I'm gonna try and clean this up as best as I can, like get out the door on time. Then I get to my destination. The person who has to do other things to help me, I have to ship these horses. Help me ship the horses is like, "I forgot you need the truck. I'll be there right away." So now like I'm getting late. I have to ship these horses up to the vet. So like I'm running late with that. Like Sophia's continuing to have meltdowns. She will not wear a coat. It's like 50 degrees out. Finally get these horses on the trailer, get in the car. We're driving up there. There's like all this construction in the middle of like downtown Providence. And like, it's a big rig. It's like a big truck. It's a 3-horse trailer. It's like 40 feet long or something. And with all the construction stuff going on, it's like, "Take this exit," and like there's no exit there. It's just like a dirt thing. So I'm like, okay, I missed the exit, and I'm in this like trailer, and I'm like downtown, and I'm like on this road that's going south, and I need to be going west. And I'm like, and if you've probably never driven a trailer, but like you can't just pull off anywhere. You can't just drive anywhere with this big rig, especially in the city. So like, so I'm like, what do I do? Like, and I'm just like, "Angels," I'm like, but this is like the 5th time I've gone to my prayer already today. I'm like, "Angels, what do I do here? Like, do I get off at this exit? I can't just go south. Like, this is not going to take me anywhere towards my destination." And they were like, "Get off here." So I'm like, okay. So I get off. I'm driving in this like urban neighborhood with like cars on both sides. I'm making all these little turns. The GPS is like, "Turn here." And it's literally like an alley. And I'm like, "Just please get me back on the highway. Like, I've got 2 horses and a toddler, and I cannot be in the city with this rig, like getting stuck somewhere." So like, we get back on the highway, all good. I get to the place, we're like 30 minutes late. The vets are like so cool. They're like, "Whatever, no big deal." Horse people are notoriously late, so I guess they're used to it. And then I think I'm taking my horse for like, he's got this like swelling in one leg that like my sister and I like, this is no big deal. It's like, he's got this little edema thing like in the lymph. We're thinking he got like 1,000 tick bites this summer. He just needs like a little thing for the vets to like knock it out. And I get there, and And we have this huge clinic this weekend. We have an international rider coming to teach us. So we're like, we're going to knock this thing out. This is why I'm driving up there rather than waiting for the vet to come. Get there. The vet's like, oh no, this is not lymphangitis. Like, I think it's a check ligament tear. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So anyway, he's like, we're going to go ultrasound it. We'll let you know what happens. He comes out and he's like, it's bad. He's like, I know you weren't expecting this, but it's bad. He's like, the horse needs surgery. It's going to need like 30 to 60 days off. We're supposed to take the horse to South Carolina for 2 months, January and February. So like, I'm like, okay, clinic's out. I don't know if I'm going to South Carolina anymore. Like, it's like everything is just kind of nothing is going the way I expected today. And I just go like, okay. So and then the whole time I'm like trying to juggle this toddler while I'm juggling these two horses and like it's like I'm like run, and I didn't eat enough. I'm just like running on empty, and I'm just like, okay, like everything is okay. And I'm driving the trailer home. My daughter finally falls asleep, so it's like quiet. I like know the roads I'm on now. We made it out of the city, and I'm like, why is this happening today? Like, why am I getting the squeeze from the universe here, right? And I'm like, okay, let me just make sure I know what I'm doing for the rest of the day. I'm like, I know I have this to teach. Like, do I have clients after that? Because sometimes I do clients on Tuesday evenings. And I like quick glance at my calendar, and I'm like, the art of surrender. I'm like, okay, I am so primed now to teach on the art of surrender tonight. So yes, so at any point today, I could have totally lost it. Like, I could have freaked out about the $90 bottle of brand new supplement. I could have lost my cool on my daughter about just tantrum after tantrum after tantrum after tantrum, right? Like, sometimes you just get to a point where like, you're like, just put your friggin' shoes on and get in the car, right? Like, enough is enough. So like, did not lose my cool on her. I didn't freak out about the horse thing. I just said like, okay, these are all lessons for me. These are all questions the universe is asking me. And I've been through enough experiences with fully surrendered that I know whatever's going on with my horse is for my highest good. Like, you know, maybe going to South Carolina really is not a good idea for me. And I need to stay here, and I need to stay really focused on my work, or my daughter needs me to be here with her more, or like whatever it is. Or maybe he would have gone to South Carolina, gotten that injury the first week, and then we would have been like rehabbing him there, shipping him, like, who knows, right? Or maybe I would have in the clinic this weekend gotten thrown off my horse and like broke my leg, right? And the universe is like, no, you're not going to mess with that energy. So I just trust that the reason this is happening is for my highest good. And so I don't have to freak out, and I don't have to get caught up on a bottle of supplement. Like, it's just not, like, no matter what, it's not that important. So it's like seeing all of these things from a higher perspective that allows me to stay in this space of surrender. And don't get me wrong, I was tired at that like 3 o'clock after like 6 hours of running around doing all this stuff all day. Like, I was like, all right, sweetie, we are sitting down, we're putting on the TV, and I'm not cooking anything. Like, we're just, you know, like, we're gonna chill. And I have like definitely tension in my lower back right now. But so I definitely felt the stress of today, but I think like I managed it as well as I could have. And I will get super fired up in this teaching because I get so excited to like connect with you guys. And then after we're done with this, like, I'm gonna go get an Epsom salt bath. I'm gonna do my meditation. I'm gonna like let it all go and thank the day for all of its blessings. So that was my day today. So I'm super primed to just talk about being in the moment, being in your body, and being fully surrendered. So I want to pull a card to set the intention for today. I have 2 decks here. I have the Doreen Virtue unicorn cards, which are just like so beautiful. And I have the Work Your Light card deck by Rebecca Campbell. So let's see if there are any. I want to pull the chat up. Okay, so I'm going to do one at the beginning and one at the end. Let me just see which one. This one is calling for the beginning. Okay, so the Work Your Light deck. Rebecca Campbell has a book called Rise, Sister, Rise, which is all about, it's really about embodying the divine feminine energy. And it's a very like practical, short little chapters, super clear language, a lot of personal example ways. Like it's so inspiring and so exciting. Okay, one picked for us. So if you're, yeah, so it's a great book. I don't have these card decks on my website, but I do have all the books that I talk about on there. So if you guys go to the products page on my website, you'll see all these books and stuff I'm talking about, and I'll put these card decks on there too. So the card for today is boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? And this obviously has beautiful artwork as well. So it's a picture of this woman like with her arms out, and she's got like this kind of like crown above her head. And then there's all these hands reaching in, right? And it's almost like, it's like how everyone's trying to connect and reach out to you, and how your energy is interacting from the outside. And I think a lot of times we have this energy that wants to take and pull from us. So this card makes me feel like a big theme for those of you watching this live or on the replay is that, you know, our topic today is surrender and releasing the blocks to joy and vitality. It makes me feel like a lot of times what oftentimes is a block for us is that we don't have clear enough boundaries, and we are allowing our energy to leak out into other spaces. So that can be part of a block if we are leaking energy. So I'm going to write that down because that was not one that I had put on my agenda for today, but it is a very, very important topic. And it is a lesson I really embraced literally in the last year. I started working on energy leaks and blocks and boundaries last October, and it has created a massive, massive shift for me in the last year. And that's a big reason why I wanted to talk on this topic. So that's our card for today is boundaries. And I have two oils I wanted to share with you guys. So one is green mandarin, which is the oil of pure potential. And green mandarin smells so good. It's the unripe mandarin fruit. So they use the green skins, and they are, it's like just this really gentle citrus. So the oil of pure potential, it is an excellent tonic to aid individuals in returning to childhood delight and simplicity. In adulthood, individuals often feel trapped or limited by their own belief systems. And this oil gives us direct access to pure potential and boundless opportunities. So I just felt really inspired to use this one. So this oil you can use around your navel, the heart, or on the wrists. I'm going to do it on the wrists today. That just feels like where I want to go. Yeah, the smell, when you smell an essential oil and you're like, oh, this is the best thing I've ever smelled, like that's a sign that that's an oil that's really resonating with your energy and your vibration. So just sometimes we're like, what's the oil I need based on the or even the herb based on like the information about it, but sometimes just go with like what really feels good and smells good to you. And then the other oil I am using today is a blend called Passion from doTERRA, which is cinnamon, cardamom, ginger, clove, sandalwood, jasmine, vanilla, and damiana. So it's like very cinnamony, but like also very feminine and very warming. And this is the oil, the energy of this is finding your passion. I love to use this one behind the ears. You can also use it on your wrist or your stomach. But this oil is all about helping those caught in patterns of self-denial or regimentation, which regimentation, like a lot of masculine energy, like we talked about yesterday. For overworking or being too serious, when you are burdened by a joyless sense of duty, passion encourages you to be more playful and spontaneous. So it encourages passion, risk-taking, vitality, playfulness, spontaneity, creativity. So I've been really into this oil blend lately. So those are my oils for today. And yeah, I just like, I'm kind of obsessed with oils. It's a little bit, it's a little bit crazy, but they just make me feel so good. And they've been so powerful also in shifting my energy today. Yeah, so someone else had a similar day today. The book for the essential oils, this one's on my website too. It's called Emotions and Essential Oils. It's literally my favorite book. It also comes with this super cool wheel of emotions. So there's negative emotions on one side, positive emotions on the other. So you can look up like, I want more clarity. I want to feel more empowered. And it gives you a bunch of different oils in that kind of genre. Or if you're like, I'm feeling fearful, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling numb, you can pick oils that way. So it's just, yeah, I can't say enough about essential oils. Obviously they have their physical healing properties too, but for me, the emotional healing properties are what really draw me to essential oils. Okay, so let's get into our topic today. So the topic is the art of surrender, releasing blocks to joy and vitality. And I think we all can really quickly and clearly resonate on the idea that we have blocks. And often blocks will show up very clearly when we're trying to do physical healing. And that will come in the form of some people almost feel rebellious, like they don't want to follow a certain set of rules. Some people have this feeling of, I don't know if I believe in this, but people feel like they have self-sabotage, where like they kind of get started on a good path and then they just sort of like feel like they undo it. Oh, thank you. Eileen, who is under the alias of Ash, my assistant has put the link for the products and the books in there. Self-sabotage, rebelliousness, sometimes just like a lack of energy, like you just feel like you can't even get yourself started, like you have all these intentions, or you go and buy celery and it sits in your fridge until it gets like brown and like really bitter, and then you have to throw it away. And like we've all done that, right? Self included. I have done that many, many times. So like, where do these blocks to healing come from? So like with physical healing that a lot of us are doing, it's pretty super clear when we're blocked, because there's very clear steps to take on a daily basis. With emotional and spiritual healing, sometimes it's a little less clear because it's a bit more of an energetic thing, and we're not always super clear on how we work through those and how we like figure out what's going on there. We haven't all been taught that. So some of your blocks to healing could be, one is limiting beliefs. And so there is this belief, sometimes we have a belief that like we can't heal, like that we're just too far gone, it's never going to happen for us, or like we're going to get a little better, but like we're never actually going to get to that point that we really feel this sense of vitality. A lot of those limiting beliefs are programming from our society, from our families. Those limiting beliefs I call the twos and the not enoughs. So I'm too old, I'm too sick, I'm too far gone, I'm too something. The not enoughs, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not strong enough, I don't have enough will. The twos and the not enoughs, right? Those are limiting beliefs. And sometimes those are super clear, like we hear the voice in our head that says those really strong limiting things. And sometimes those beliefs are really subtle. For me, I've worked through a lot of limiting beliefs around abundance. And I did not realize I had this real unworthiness around abundance. And it took me working through a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of lack of trust, a lot of like micromanaging of finances and like planning out every penny, planning it all out before it even showed up. So then when it showed up, it already felt like it was gone. Like I had a lot of limiting beliefs there. So just start to like pay attention to your limiting beliefs. Where are they showing up? What are the words? What are the things? And sometimes, you know, there's this idea that we shouldn't dwell in the negatives, but we also need to get really familiar with the negatives. There's someone called the shadow, right? The shadow is like the I'm not good enough side, the angry side, the rebellious side. So get familiar with what your limiting beliefs are. Like, do some journaling and just think about what that is for you. Yeah, Sandy loves doTERRA. I agree. I love doTERRA. Okay. So think about what your limiting beliefs are. I'll give you a good example here. I'm always using money examples, right? Because that's my thing right now. I was at a retreat in September. And there's a woman in my group who is a wealth embodiment coach. She's a money coach. And we were writing out our intentions, and we were going to put them in this box and have this whole ceremony. And I had written in terms of, I had many intentions, right? But in terms of money, I wrote financial freedom. And I like looked over at her card and she had written multi-millionaire. And I was like, whoa, oh, hold on. I was like, damn, I am really limiting myself. Like, I'm afraid to write that down. Why? It's just words on paper going in a little box. Like, why am I afraid to even write that? Why am I afraid to want that? Why am I afraid to dream about that? Because I have a limiting belief that it's so far away, I could never achieve it. So right there, I've already blocked myself from becoming a multimillionaire because I have this limiting belief that it's too far away. It's too big of a leap. It'd be too scary to get there. It'd be too stressful to get there. All limiting beliefs, right? So I like crossed off my wimpy, vague financial freedom goal. What the heck is that? And I wrote down multimillionaire. And I want it to be easy and fun and supportive and all the things around it, right? So sometimes we don't even realize we have these limiting beliefs. Like, get really wild about what your desires are. We talked about this yesterday, but like, get really wild. Like, if you want a house on the ocean, write that shit down. Like, there's no reason you can't have that. If you want to put an addition on your house, write it down. If you want an art studio, like if you want 17 children, like just write it all down. You know, there's no reason why we cannot have all these things. And so don't let your limiting beliefs block you before you even get started on the path. Okay, so next block, stories. And these are also part of limiting beliefs, but sometimes we have these stories in our heads. And if we're living in our past stories, we can never create a new future. So our thoughts are energy. And this, what I'm going to explain right now, is a lot of the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, who is brilliant and has lots of books and is just a super cool dude. His quick backstory is that he was a chiropractor. He was in a bicycle race, and he got hit by a car, fractured his spine. They were like, you're probably not going to walk. You need surgery, but the risks of surgery are we might sever your spinal cord. You may never walk again. And he was like, no. And he went home and he healed his back through meditation. He literally, because he had such a impeccable knowledge of the anatomy of the spine, he had an x-rays to look at it. In his mind, he put every piece back together in his spine over and over and over. I mean, the man sat in meditation for days on months on end. And now he's fully functional, fully healthy. And he writes about the power of our thoughts, because our thoughts are energy. Right? That's all they are, is energy. And that energy starts to be sent out into the world. Those thoughts create our energy field. So like in the spiritual community, we call it our aura. In science, they call it the quantum field, the quantum field of the body. So it's a measurable energetic field. So our thoughts are energy. We're sending this energy out. Our thoughts create our beliefs, which are just patterns of thoughts. And then our beliefs, again, resonating out into the world, create our frequency, which create our reality. Our inner world shows up on the outside. So when we change one thought at a time, we begin to change our beliefs, and then we begin to create a new future, new opportunity. But when our thoughts are locked into, oh, I've tried so many things, it didn't work, I've been in credit card debt, I have so much credit card debt, I'll never get rid of this credit card debt. Once I pay it off, it just keeps coming right back, right? You see how you start to spiral into this like negative story. You can catch yourself at any moment in time and start to spiral that in the other way, right? Like I smashed the $90 bottle of supplement smashed. And I just said, we're so abundant. We have infinite resources. I have another bottle in the cabinet. We can get more, right? So I could have very easily spiraled into a super negative story. I could have shamed my daughter. I could have made her feel horrible. I could have taken it down a really ugly path, but I just chose to be like, whatever, doesn't matter. There was a very clear choice right there. And my daughter was already upset. She was like, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, kid, it's fine, like whatever. So there was a very clear choice there. So we have these opportunities to make these choices and change the stories that are playing in our heads. So don't get caught in the old stories. Like, let's give a relationship example. There's not enough good men out there. All the good ones are taken. All men are cheaters, or women, whoever, you know, like, I'll never find someone who actually supports me. All the stories, right? Not really true. Start telling yourself a new story. There is the perfect partner out there for me. There is someone who will love me and support me exactly as I am. There is someone who will be into my weird, funky woo-woo stuff and not think I'm a crazy like witch lady. Like there are, you know, people out there who will respect that. So start, you know, changing that story. Let's see, I want to see. Kimmy says, I use the word self-sabotage to describe myself. What about it don't you buy into? Yeah, so curious. It's negative and I'm tired of it being part of my story or my child's story, who's struggling with drug abuse and other forms of abuse. And so I care for her 1-year-old daughter most days. I need boundaries in a new story. Yes, that's exactly it. Like, so self-sabotage is like, there's like shame and guilt in that. Like, I'm bad, I do bad things, I always ruin it for myself. Like, that's why I don't believe, I don't like that phrase. Like, a better thing to do is say, like, I'm doing the best I can in a really tough situation. Like, you have if you have a child with an adult child with substance abuse problems and other abuse problems, and you're taking care of a grandchild, like, that's a really, really difficult situation. So it's all about giving yourself grace, taking one moment at a time, one thing at a time, changing one belief at a time, and saying, like, I'm doing better. Every day I make one better decision. Every day I change a thought, and that rapidly starts to shift the language. So yeah, that's self-sabotage. When I hear clients say that, I'm like, nope, we're wiping that out of your record. Like, that's not what's happening. You're not we're not playing with that language. We are focusing on the things that you are doing right, and we are reinforcing. So another huge lesson for me this year was, so there's a whole field of like neuro-linguistic programming, right? Which I have not studied in detail, but essentially it's like, you use affirmations, you say words, you change the stories, and it literally changes the pathways in the brain. And it's a super powerful way of changing thoughts, changing beliefs, changing vibration, and then your outside world starts to shift. So a big thing to do is like, just watch the language that's happening in your head and start to change one piece of verbiage at a time. Start to change when you start to criticize yourself, like, I have too many wrinkles, I'm too overweight, I'm too this, I'm too that, like, and just start to be like, no, you know what? Like, my body's amazing. My body has birthed a child. My body has survived a car accident. My body has survived abuse. My body is like the shit. My body is amazing. Like, this thing is working for me every single day, tirelessly, using every single resource. Like, this body is amazing. It is like a vehicle for my soul, you know? So we just start to change one little thing at a time. And as you get more embodied in that, we talked about yesterday, again, you start to see your outer world change, and you start to shift those negative thoughts into more joyful thoughts, and you create more vitality in your life. Okay, another big block, expectations. Super common quote, expectations are the theft of joy, right? Like, today I expected things to go a certain way. They did not go that way, right? And so when we have this expectation that things are going to work out certain ways, we are setting ourselves up for failure, point blank. I've had experiences where like I put out a program, nobody signed up, right? And I was like, oh man, like you do all this work, like you create a program, you put a whole page, you do advertising, and then you're like, oh, crickets. And you're like, all right, okay. So I have a choice here, right? My expectation is like, this is going to fill, this is going to provide me income. I'm going to help all these women. I'm going to get them connected to their intuition. I'm so excited. And then it doesn't fill. And so I just go, okay. So one expectation not met, right? So the opportunity to feel defeat, quit, give up, cry, tell yourself you're not good enough, your program sucks, or just go, okay, the universe is taking me in another direction. This is not the way I was meant to go. And you just say, okay, just pivot, shift, right? So getting out of the idea of knowing what's going to happen, thinking that you have control, because we don't have any control, that's another one. So watch yourself and expectations. This is also huge in parenting. Watch your expectations for your kid, because if you are setting them up for failure, because you have some expectation of them, it can be very damaging. And so we want to just allow them the freedom to experience life and make their own choices and choose their path. And we gently support them and guide them and help make them resilient to stress along the way. Dr. Shafali, Conscious Parenting is a book. Phenomenal if you're in the parenting world and expectations are a thing for you. Okay, so that's another block to joy. We're going to do two more blocks. Another is force. When we are trying to make something happen, let's call it, I'll give you a personal example. When I was like 27, 28, it was right when the market had crashed from the housing bubble, and there was this first time home buyer's loan where you got like $8,000 if you bought a home. And my dad was like, hey, you should do this. You get this $8,000. You can invest in something. Real estate's the best investment. It'll never do you wrong. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's do this. I did not have any money. I maybe had like a few $1,000s in my savings, maybe like $5,000 in savings. I was like in grad school. I was taking out graduate student loans. Like I didn't even know what I was doing. Like I was like, I don't know, I was just going through life. Like I'm supposed to go to grad school. I'm supposed to get this job. I'm supposed to keep getting promoted. I'm supposed to buy a house. Like, ooh, like not doing my inner work at all. Totally disembodied. So I got on this thing. I'm going to buy a property. So I bought this little condo in Westchester, New York, and it was like $97,000. It was like, just a little apartment. It was such a stretch for me to afford it. It was such a stretch because there's huge like association fees in Westchester. It was like the process with the mortgage company was a nightmare. Like every week they're like, we need this, we need that, we don't have this, we don't have that. Like up until the day, like 2 days before, like my mortgage was still not approved. We're supposed to go to closing. So it was just so stressful. And then I finally got in this place and it was like not for me. Like the vibe was so wrong. I hated being there. I was never home. I would come home on Sunday evenings and I would just cry and I would eat junk food. Like I would just eat pizza and be hungover. And it was like just not the right place. And I could barely afford it. Long story short, I finally got out of there. I had to rent it for 2 years. I tried to sell it. I couldn't sell it. It was worth like, I couldn't sell it for like $80,000 when I had paid $97,000 for it. Like this whole thing, after like 3 or 4 years, it finally had to foreclose on it. So talk about like forcing something and pushing myself into a place that I did not belong in. Same thing I told you guys about a job yesterday. I pushed and forced my way into this sales job, and then I finally landed, and after 9-10 months, I was like, oh, I'm completely miserable. I forced both of those situations, one after the other. They're actually all happening concurrently. But so when we are forcing things, we are blocking our joy because we think it's the thing we need, because we have this expectation that this job is going to make me happy. This salary is going to make me happy. owning a place and having this sense of ownership is going to make me happy. No, not right when it's out of alignment, right? So often when we're in force, it's coming from this low vibrational place that if I don't do this, I'm not good enough. If I don't have this, I'm never going to be happy. So force is a big break there. Okay, so Sandy says, what if the old story's energy feels so strong compared to the new wording? The new wording feels like a big fat lie. Girl, fake it till you make it. Let me tell you, when I put up my website, I wrote, Rachel has a virtual practice that allows her to see clients all over the world. I didn't have an international client then, but guess what? I have a bunch of international clients now. I was like, oh God, how can I even write this? Like, I wasn't saying like, oh, I have all these international, I wasn't lying, but like, I was putting it out there, like, I'm going to have an international practice. And now I do, but it was a really freaky thing to write and say. So sometimes we have to get past our fears it's an up level, right? You've got to move through a glass ceiling. You've got to move through a level of fear that allows you to take yourself to the next level. And it's a process. You have to keep moving through levels of it. Like I am in a space of moving through a level right now where I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna achieve these goals? I know I'm going to, I have no idea how it's going to happen, but I'm working through a lot of blocks that are keeping me capped where I am, because I want to go further. I want to help people on a deeper level. I want to reach more people, grow my practice, right? And so I've got to work through a layer of fears to do that. So Sandy, start with something little that feels easy. This is the reprogramming yourself for success. I was talking about neuro-linguistic programming, but reprogramming yourself for success. So like, maybe your success is I drink celery juice 4 days a week, every week. And so you set the bar like at a very reasonable level. So every week you can be like, yeah, I did it. I do reach my goals. I am committed. I do have success. Like set the bar really low. Like, what else? Like, I don't know, if like just create a goal that's like super achievable and just crush it every time. And if you don't crush it, be like, oh, I just need to adjust my goals. It's no big deal. So yeah, and sometimes there is a degree of like faking it till you make it, like just fake it till you make it, you know? So yeah, that's a great observation, because that totally pops up for me too. Like I told you guys, you know, my goals about my business yesterday and how I want to reach a lot of people and like create some sort of nonprofit or support an existing nonprofit, right? Like I have no idea how, I'm so far from that right now. Like the idea of even saying that out loud, like, am I actually going to do that? I know I am. I have no idea how I'm going to get there. It feels a little scary to say it because I don't want to be like, I'm not lying. It is a goal. Like, I don't want to be creating this false reality, but like it's a thing I'm going to do, and it might be in 5 years, it might be in 10 years, it might be in 30 years. I have no idea, but I think it's going to be sooner than later. So like I just, and where is the void? Where is the reprogramming language coming from? Is it coming from a place of like, I need to be better than someone, I'm not good enough unless I achieve this level of physical health, this amount of money, this home? Like, is it coming from a competitive ego-based place, or is it coming from like a really loving, like, these are my soul desire place? Don't be afraid to shout from the rooftops, loving soul desires. Like, put them out there, talk about them, like to people that you can trust and that will support you and go like, wow, interesting. Don't be afraid to shout that stuff from the rooftops, because it helps make it come alive in your body. It's why I talk about stuff in these groups that I plan to do with my practice, because like I'm putting the vibes out there, right? And I don't know who's watching this. Maybe there's someone on here who just inherited $20 million. And they're like, I want to start a nonprofit. And I love Rachel's work. I'm going to reach out to her and we're going to do it together. I don't know. Someone might watch this recording in 5 years and reach out to me. So like, I'm putting it out there, you know? And again, it's a little scary. Like I get this like, ooh, should I even be saying that? But like, I'm putting it out there. So if it's coming from that loving, soulful desire place, like you're good. Just keep working through that fear and recognizing it's just fear. It's just a story. It's just a limiting belief. And it's something it's just energy and you can let go of it. You can even go back to what we talked about yesterday with the embodiment practice and be like, today I move out the limiting belief that that those old stories own me, that those old stories are the truth. Today, I move them out of my body, and you dance and you scream and you shriek and you lay on your back in your bed and you kick your arms and your legs, like whatever you got to do. You punch a boxing thing, you know, like whatever you got to do to like move that energy out. That energy does not own you anymore. So yes, great question. Okay. And then, one more block. Boundaries. If we have poor boundaries, we are leaking energy all over the place. So if you've got someone who calls you and whines and complains and bitches about their problems, and you get off the phone and you're like, oh, that was so draining, you're losing energy to them. We need all of our energy. I am a freak about my energy now, like with my food, with my sleep, with my self-care, like I have to be so clean and clear with my energy, or I can't do this work. I can't show up at the level that I want to and need to and desire to if I'm not super clean with my energy. And that means there is no room for people crossing my boundaries. I had a phone call with a really good friend and I was talking about, I don't know, something. And this person started asking me questions like, well, do you think that's really true? Like, well, do you think that like, you're like, what happened was I felt very invalidated. And I was okay on the phone. I got off the phone and I was like, wow, I feel like shit. I was like, I feel super invalidated. I feel very unsupported. And I was immediately like, we got to talk because I feel horrible after that conversation. And like I will literally just cut people out. Like, you're either on the vibe, you're on this trajectory with me, you are, even if you don't get it. So a lot of people don't get it and I can respect that, but you gotta be respectful of it. Like if you're not supporting my energy, like I'm out. I don't have time. I can't waste any of my vital energy. So one clear example for me, another might be like if someone is putting you down. Like I had someone whose spouse would say like, well, you know, you're not following the diet enough. You're not doing it good enough. You're cheating. It's never going to work. You're never going to get better. Like it was sabotaging her. You want to talk about sabotage? Like, you know, I was like, honey, you got to have a conversation. You can't have that in your life. Like that's a boundary we need to set. Sometimes we're afraid to set these boundaries because it upsets other people. A lot of us are people pleasers. I was 100% a people pleaser. I don't keep people in my life that I have to please anymore. Like I'll ghost you. Sorry. Ghosting is like a bad thing, but I don't care. I'm out. Like I don't have time for that. So these boundaries are super clear because if our boundaries are being crossed, it lowers our vibration. We're leaking energy and then we're out of joy and vitality, right? I have too many people in my life like that. Time to start manifesting people on my vibe. Yeah. And ask for help. A beautiful quote a friend tells me, like a prayer that they use is, you know, do for me what I cannot do for myself. That's the best prayer ever. Like I'm having such a hard time setting a boundary with this person. Like sometimes they just choose to be out. They just stop calling you because it's a mismatch for both of you. You know, sometimes you'll get fired. Sometimes you'll get evicted. Sometimes your horse will get broken. And guess what? You're not doing all the things you thought you were going to do, but it's for your best interest. So, yeah, ask for help in all of these situations. This is the art of surrender. Throw it up. The stuff that feels the hardest, that you feel like you don't know what to do. How am I ever going to get out of this? go to your prayer. Like the angels, God, source, all of that energy is conspiring for your success. And so when you ask, and all of the divine light beings respect the law of free will. So they cannot intervene on our behalf unless we ask them. So like pray, 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 pray. And sometimes I get to a point where my clients all laugh when I tell them this. I flip out. Like a couple months ago, my daughter was having horrible separation anxiety. And I had this like, just exhausted by her crying and her upsetness, and like, it was just so emotionally taxing for me. And I got in the car and I was so like overwhelmed, and I literally screamed at the top of my lungs, and I like shook my steering wheel, and I was like, enough is enough. Help me. I don't know what to do. Help me, help this child. Like we cannot go on. Like I flipped out, had like a sore throat, like screamed at the universe. And a day or two later, one of my dear friends who's a healer who does emotion code reached out to me and said, hey, can I do an emotion code for you? And I was like, yes, do it for my daughter, please. Oh my gosh. And she did it. And the separation anxiety shifted like that. It was like a freaking miracle. And that is the experience that made me become an emotion code practitioner. The universe literally stepped in, beeped my friend. We're like, beep, 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 reach out to Rachel. She needs some help. And she was like, oh, hey, do you want some help? And I was like, yes, please. Thank you. So like that help will show up when we ask for it. Okay, so we've got all these blocks. We've got all these leaks. We've got all these stories. We're going to get rid of them. How do we move them out? One thing is begin to embrace the idea of accepting each moment as it is. And that was a huge thing that I did today. Each moment, smashed glass, freaking neighborhood with the trailer, like horse is broken, needs surgery. I was just like, okay, I'm safe. I have my amazing child with me. I have beautiful support in my life. I am fed. I am warm. I have a home. I have everything I need right here in this moment. So begin to accept things as are. So remind yourself about all the things that are working, all the things that are good. Make yourself a gratitude list. It's such a powerful thing when you find yourself in resistance to what is popping up, when you find that those expectations are not being met. And then also, again, like I spoke about yesterday, because this is such a powerful step, get crystal clear on what it is that you want and desire. And don't let those limiting beliefs stop you before you even get started. Like if you're bedbound, so sick you're bedbound, but your dream was to run a 5K, like write it down. Don't think that that's too far of a stretch. Like if your dream is to open a gym, write it down. Like, if you're living on food stamps and you barely have enough money to pay your bills, but your dream is to have a bungalow on the ocean, write it down. Like, you want to be able to walk your feet onto the beach every morning and meditate. Like, don't be afraid to reach for the stars. The universe has unlimited potential. And so like, get crystal clear on like really what you want, and don't allow those limiting beliefs to dim your vision. And then, really, really key, after you get clear on that vision, you've got to feel it. You got to close your eyes and be like, I wake up, I see the sun rising, I hear the ocean, I feel this breeze on my face, and I get out of my lush, cushy, king-size bed with organic cotton sheets, and I slip on my favorite sandals and a bathing suit, and I walk outside, and I just dive right into this tropical water. And then I go do my yoga, and then I sit down and I do my work, or, whatever it is that you do. Like, get in the mindset, feel what it feels like, be in that energy. Like, how awesome would it be to start your day that way every day? So like, this is another exercise you can do. Write out your ideal day. What does it look like? What support shows up for you? If someone comes to clean your house and they you know, they come in the morning and they make you your juice and your lemon water, and they bring you your salad and veggies that all you have to do is pop them in the oven. Like some people want a personal chef like that. Like get super crystal clear. You can have all of those things wherever you are. You can have those things. And then just find a light heart in everything that happens throughout your day. Like no matter how bad things are, coming back to that trust, coming back to when you have this clear vision, trusting that you're going to get there, trusting that you're being guided, fully surrendering to wherever the universe is steering you. That is a super huge key part of the process as well. And observe the inner world. Like I call it non-judgmental self-observation. This is a process I was introduced to when I was probably about 23. I read a book called Basic Self-Knowledge, which is like an old school, like spiritual book that my dad had given to me. And like, it's all about just watch yourself. Like take a bird's eye view and like, are you running through your day cranky? Are you running through your day exhausted? Are you constantly bombarded with these like thoughts of anxiety, thoughts of fear, thoughts of like, and don't judge it. Just where are you? How are you going to get to your vision if you don't really know where you are? Again, this is like embodiment stuff too, but like really watch yourself, really listen to your thoughts, like take a step back and just see where you are. And that is going to help you understand where you need to do your healing work. That's going to help you find the shadow that you can then start to dive into and process and heal from. So that's my spiel on the art of surrender. Find your blocks, work on releasing them, and get super crystal clear on your vision. So I'm going to open it up. I want to also share that if you guys, this is a process. I'm going to open up to questions. So if you guys want to start typing them in the comments or the chat box, go ahead, or if you want to unmute after this. But this is a process. Just like physical healing, the emotional, the mental healing, the embodiment, it's a process that takes time. It's not an overnight thing. Again, don't have expectations that like you're going to get these like there's quantum shifts along the way, but for the most part, it's a slow grind. It's a slow burn. It doesn't happen overnight. And so you guys can tell I'm so passionate about this, right? Like I just eat up an hour talking about this stuff. This is why I created my latest thing, which is the Divinely Nourished Mastermind, because it's all about taking all of these practices, doing it with a group of soul sisters over 8 months. And I feel like I should have made it longer, but it's 8 months. And it's like, it's about making all these shifts and like hearing other people's stories and hearing their limiting beliefs and supporting each other as they work through them and cheerleading for each other and going through the physical healing process as well. And just getting little tips from each other, like doing this work in a group with someone to guide you and with sisters to hold you and support you is the most powerful thing. And this is what I've been doing for the last 13 months. And I'm doing it again. I'm enrolling in the second level of it for 2021. And it just became so clear to me, like, this is what I need to do. I've had all these quantum shifts in my life and slow burns, slow grinds, right? And like, I started out as a nutritionist, guys, right? Like, and my mission through nutrition was like dealing with my own physical stuff and being overweight for many years. And like, really just being curious about the body and trying to help people. Like part of the biggest driver for me was like, I need answers. I need to find the truth. And as the more I worked with people in nutrition and food and physical healing, the more I realized like, this ain't enough. Nobody's getting better just through food if they're not addressing their blocks, if they're not addressing their disassociation from their body and what's driving their emotional eating. Like it's nearly impossible to get better without doing this emotional and spiritual work. And it seems scary sometimes, but I don't know, you guys can tell I'm a super open book. Like I'll pretty much tell you anything. It's about releasing the shame and the guilt behind our stories. I used to have so much shame about having a foreclosure. I was so, my self-worth was so connected to my credit score. And like, why? Because that's what I was programmed to believe was important. That's what I was taught was a value for my family. And guess what? It doesn't freaking matter. Like, yeah, we want to have a good credit score so we can get a mortgage and buy a car, right? But like my self-worth is no longer attached to that. And that's a huge space of healing. Like when your self-worth no longer becomes attached to these external things, and you can really become empowered and you can really get aligned with your soul. And then you can start to like, you can start to do what you are meant to do with a sense of joy and a sense of vitality, a sense of freedom. And that's what I want to bring in this mastermind. And so if you guys are interested in doing this on a deeper level with a group, like if you're committed, if you're ready, then reach out to me, because it's something we should talk about exploring for you, because it's just the most magnificent thing ever to go through this transformation in a group. And these are connections that last lifelong. So I'm going to go to questions now. Yeah, will I share more info and details about emotion code and how it works? So like I said, I had that profound experience with my daughter in separation anxiety, and I had a lot of personal healing work through receiving emotion code. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, now I'm sold. So emotion code is a very structured method of energy healing that looks for trapped emotions. So there's this list of 60 trapped emotions, and they could be like fear, anxiety, self-abuse. Here they are. Effort unreceived, rejection, bitterness, resentment, dread, etc. And so what I do is I do it all by distance. I connect to your energy and I muscle test for a trap. So for my daughter, does my daughter have a trapped emotion related to separation anxiety that I can release today? And the trapped emotions are like the energetic baggage that we carry with us. And we're all carrying a huge energetic baggage. We pick it up as we go through life. We also absorb it from other people, especially as children. And we also can inherit it. So we can have energetic baggage that comes down through our family line. And so when you begin to release that, you're raising your vibration, you're releasing blocks, you're releasing energetic patterns. Sometimes, like Sandy was saying, it's hard to believe in something different because we're so ingrained in that energy. So emotion code helps to free that up. So we ask if that emotion can be released, and the answer is typically yes. And then I use a magnet, actually I have it right here. And I run it over the governing meridian line, which is the energy channel that, it's like an ancient Chinese medicine energy channels. It connects to all the other ones. So when we set the intention to release, let's say anxiety, I run it over the governing meridian. It sends that out to wherever that emotion is trapped in the energy field and releases it. And so most people feel just better after an emotion code session. I've seen really dramatic physical healing results from it as well, because if there's blocks in the energy channels, it creates stagnation in the energy flow, stagnation in circulation, creates pockets of low vibration where pathogens and toxins want to hang out. So it's super powerful technique. So I don't have a page up for emotion code yet, but you guys can reach out to me if you're interested in sessions. It's really, and there's also a book also on the products page by Dr. Bradley Nelson. It's called Emotion Code. You can also read the book and learn how to do it yourself. You can muscle test and release the emotions on yourself. So it's super, super cool. That's something I do in one-to-one sessions with that will be happening in the Divinely Nourished Mastermind as well. We'll be doing emotion code. Let's see. Oops, I didn't record this. Thanks, Eileen. Okay. Oops. Can one of your blocks be someone else? So can your blocks be someone else? If we allow them to be, yes. I'll give you a good example. A personal example. You guys, I've been very open that I was separated and divorced this year. And I had been working on building my practice for 2.5 years, maybe. And it was hard. It felt like a struggle. There was a lot of money fear. I kept investing and taking all the money. I took all the money out of my retirement savings, like $50,000 to get this going. And my ex-husband, I never felt like he really believed in me. I never felt like he trusted what I was doing. I didn't feel like he believed in the work I was doing. And when we decided to separate, I swear to you, this is a quantum shift moment. My business started booming. Like in 2 months, I did 6 times the business, 6 times the amount of money came in. And I was like, whoa. And it has not stopped since then. So yes, other people can be blocking us. However, we let them block us. And I was in a space where I am an eternal optimist. I see the light in everything. I see the potential in everyone. I see the good in everything. And I was like, we can save this. We can fix this. This can get better. We can get back to where we were and even better. And he didn't see it the same way. He wasn't in that space. And so that was a huge drain on my energy. And I did a lot of emotion code after that and found that there was a lot of emotion. I was harboring a ton of resentment that was holding me back. There was emotion from him that I had absorbed. There was a lot there. So yes, other people can block us, but only if we allow them to. And again, I was super focused on like, I need this practice. This is my soul mission. I need to do this work. And the universe was like, oh, we're going to take this block right out of your way. And I was like, okay, that's not what I expected to happen, but I am surrendering to this. I believe this is for my highest good. And I now, 7 months later, know it was for my highest good. I know it was for the highest good of my daughter. Everyone is in a much better space. And so, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sandra, always concentrating on food, but just recently finding out it's about much more than that. Yeah, totally. I was in the same boat. Let's see. Oh my gosh, you guys are welcome. Am I able to do sessions in person? I only do sessions online. I don't have a setup to do them in person. I normally would do live events, but you know, it's COVID things going on, totally surrendered, it's happening for my highest good. So my next live event is a retreat in September 2021. Hopefully this will all be over by then and no one will have to wear masks and we can all hug each other. Putting the vibes out there. So no, but normally I would do 1-day healing intensives. I do offer private retreats. So if you guys want to come to Rhode Island, I put you up in either a hotel, usually more like an Airbnb type situation, and you get a full day or 2 days of like all the healing work. So you can kind of do what we would do in 4 to 6 months in 2 days. So that's an option of private retreat. But I'm being guided more and more to work on big levels, on high intensity, because like a one-off session is great, but like I'm here for the big transformation. Like I want to see major shift. And so I'm being guided more and more away from one-off things, single sessions, more into the bigger transformations and longer duration of time. So, but yeah, I'm open too. So if you guys happen to be in the area and you're like, just desperately dying to do something in person with you, like just reach out to me because I'm flexible. Oh, Hannah, go for it, girl.
Okay, so you were basically talking about energy vampires and boundaries.
Yeah.
Well, my mother-in-law is an energy vampire, and she'll spend as long as possible on the phone with me. I don't even go over to her house anymore because it's so draining and she doesn't respect my boundaries.
Yeah.
And then like she'll go out of her way and buy me a gift just so I have to like call her and say thank you so she can talk more. And I just feel really violated, and my husband thinks that I should give in to her, and I don't feel like I should, but I'm not really sure what to do because I don't know if it's like a bad thing to be avoiding her.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a tough situation, right? Our family members are our greatest teachers, and the ones we inherit are probably our even greatest teachers. So, for one, really pay attention to how you feel in her energy and recognize that is not a flaw in you. That is some toxic energy that is around you, right? It sounds like it's manipulative. It sounds like it's disrespectful. So recognize, like, this is a super powerful thing. Like, what's mine and what's yours? And create at the very least, that energetic boundary. So you're not taking on that energy. For two, it becomes the option. Do you kind of keep the peace, or do you need to like completely disconnect? And so that, that decision is up to you. But if it's super, super toxic, right? Like if there's a literal abuse, if there's substance abuse, like then you gotta be out, right? That's a no, that's too far crossing the boundaries. If it's more subtle and it's more manipulative, my approach is to just keep an arm's distance. Like, minimize the amount of time, absolutely minimize the interaction, minimize the engagement. Like, yeah, I'm great. So nice to see you. Gotta go in the other room and, go to the bathroom or something. Like, I'm gonna go help with the food. Like, just keep someone at an arm's distance if it's not a space where you can like totally get away. And yeah, it's a tricky thing, but ask for help as well, right? So where you go to your prayer, be like, help me find a boundary with this. Help me keep her at an arm's distance. Like, shield up before you go in, zip up, bubble of protection, call on Archangel Michael, all the things. Ask the angel of knowledge for guidance. Ask anyone for guidance. Yeah, and you can get to a point. I have a similar situation with someone in my family, and I keep going thinking it's going to be different. And every time I leave, I'm like, man, I was just anxious the whole time. I feel like I keep getting one-upped all the time. Like you were totally bashing my decisions like a year ago, and now you're like, oh wow, that sounds like the best investment you ever made. And I'm like, what? Like, you were so against that like last year, and now like, so there's like this just disingenuousness. I don't know if that's a word. So just, yeah, keep it at an arm's length, minimize the interaction, and know, even if they take you down a little bit, just know that that's them and it's not you. And just continue to rise above and realize that anyone's toxic behavior is just a reflection of their own inner sadness, their own inner lack, their own sense of unworthiness or poor self-worth. And so have compassion as well. Like, just realize that people are not inherently bad. They're not, most of them. Sometimes people literally have demons. They literally have dark energy attached to them that makes them do messed up things. And when they become, really low vibration, they get really depleted, it takes over and it makes people go crazy. So, so be compassionate as well. And so when you can take any judgment out of it and just be like, I send this person love, but I cannot get too close, that's the best place that you can be. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, anybody else? I don't see any questions on Facebook? No. Okay. All right. So I will wrap it up with that. Tomorrow we'll be talking about raising your vibration, the key to manifesting the life of your dreams. I just got this amazing poster. Like I ordered it and I was like, I hope it comes in time, angels, and it's here. So we're gonna be like diving into this tomorrow. I'm super pumped on that. That topic changed my life. Like learning that stuff, like I was like, okay, I get it now. Like I understand how my emotions and how my internal world really creates my outer world. So we're gonna be like super diving into that tomorrow. So that's tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern. I will see you guys there. This replay will be going out in email. It's in the Facebook group right away. So thank you so, so much. I'm sending you guys all my love again, and I'll see you tomorrow.